Warning! Watching Reactive Terrain RC may cause sudden urges to buy just one more micro RC. Side effects may include angry spouse, living room converted into crawler course, and uncontrollable impulse RC purchasing. Viewers' discretion is advised. Terms and conditions apply. Reactive Terrain RC accepts no responsibility for loss of savings accounts, late night AliExpress browsing, arguments with the other half, or mystery appearances of yet another RC package on your doorstep. By watching this video, you automatically agree to them terms and conditions whether you read this or not, which is probably not really the case because honestly, whoever listens to this part will read this part anyway. Alright, so let's have a look at where we're at. So this is the TRX4M Tarantula cage that I've actually duck-billed the front. So this would normally come right out here. Just show you. So that sits on there. So the bar work would come right out here. And I basically cut it off. And I've glued this section in just to give it center strength. And actually what I did do is remove these bottom bars and attach them internally. If this all works out, I'll get another one and I'll show you how to do the cut. So for the moment, this is what I've done. And if it works, then we'll go a little bit more in depth into it. So it is running the FCX 24 running gear, 2-speed box, standard smasher motor. I'm going to run it with this for the time being. I think they're definitely going to upgrade it to the slightly bigger one, and then we can run hopefully a 3S eventually on a different receiver, because this one is the standard smasher one, and it does, I think, only go up to a 2S. Yeah, 2S LiPo. If I move all those out of the way, you can just about see it. So I'm just going to run it on what I've got. I think I'm going to end up flipping the portals around as well, so really kind of bring that center of gravity right up. At the moment it kind of sits, there you go, let's put that one on. Still a little jacked up. I still want that a little bit lower. I think we could probably get that, to sit around about there. I don't know. I think maybe I'm going to run it before I flip the axles, because once I've flipped the axles, it's going to be difficult to put them back, so you've got to cut the nub off that locates them. 3D printed wheels and tires, so they should hopefully hold out. And again, a little bit of weight on the front, and yeah, the battery tray still fits in the back as well, so that needs to go back into that. Panels on, put a battery in it, find a place for that, and we can fire it up and see how it performs. The only thing I have to say, the one thing I'm really happy with is this straightness. It's really captured that kind of flat pan style from the Icelandic off-roaders, and this cradle is now sat 20 mil higher, so it's right up inside the cage, so bringing everything super low, getting that center of gravity nice and low. Underneath, it's a custom section that goes inside here, so it picks up a couple of the points. You can see one here, and then it logs into the shock towers. It's on a really wide stance on the rear, as you can tell, and then not so wide on the front, so you've got a little bit more articulation on the front and rear stability for the speed. I have to say, the stance is really nice. I used the 1/18 internal sprung shocks, so these are nice. I've got the ones pulling down the front just so that they don't offload too much. I need to put the weight at the back, so the battery's actually going to sit in this back cradle. It's very different to the crawlers that we normally do. With these, a lot of the weight is at the back, and then we can put the receiver somewhere up here. Then we'll give it a go. All right, I've got some panels to put back on. I've just cleaned up the panels so I can fire those back on, and we should be good to go. Just got to get these wheels finished. I've got to clean up from the print. Still got to remove all the support. I think I've done 2 so far. and then these will be glued in, and that will be a wheel done. I'm going to put a small bit of glue on this inside edge, and we'll see how they perform. All right, well, let's I think that's it. Does look pretty awesome though. All right, so here we are. So I have flipped the paws, so it is a lot much lower. The stance of this thing just looks absolutely insane. I mean, it just looks so menacing. I've run a battery through these. I didn't video it because I'm going to be honest with you, it wasn't overly exciting. The original stock motor and the FCX24, when you kind of want something with a bit of punch, it doesn't provide the power. So this should make a big difference. So I'm going to whack that in there. I did flip the front, but it's super low. So I'm actually going to flip that back and then adjust the stance on the shocks. That will give it a little bit more kind of front raise, but I think I'd prefer that rather than it just snow plowing. I'm also going to remove, well, I was going to remove these. I'm not sure yet. At the moment, it is still a little front heavy, so maybe I should remove them and see what it does. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll remove these as well while I've got everything off. So flip these back round, get that sorted out, get the bigger motor in it, and then let's go see what it can do. Although not now because it's stupidly late at night, but tomorrow we should be able to see this in action and actually have a bit more poke and look a little bit more lively and actually look like it's going to do something, because it didn't look very exciting today. But there we go. Right, I'm going to start wrenching and hopefully we'll see this rip tomorrow. All right, so we're finally here. It is proper test day. I actually had this yesterday out, but we just ran the stock motor, and honestly it was it was kind of disappointing power wise. So I knew it was going to be like that because I had tested at home and I pre-ordered a couple of big boy motors. I've actually got the slightly faster one in here, but not as much torque. And then the other one I've got, so this is the 180 48, and then I've got the 130 60 coming. And I think, well, I don't know which one's we're going to build two. Obviously G-Dog will have one, I'll have one. I also sat there last night wondering, you know, these are to scale. So when I kind of measured up the scale of how wide these paddle tires are, these are pretty accurate to the 1.1s. But I did wonder whether we could do, you know, maybe drop 10 mil off them and do some slightly skinnier ones, or whether they're just going to end up being trench diggers where they just, you know, sit there and just, you know, gone. So I'm going to put a big old battery in the back of it and we'll fire it up and see, well, we'll see what difference this motor makes. Well, it's definitely livelier. Yeah, that's a lot. That's almost 3 times faster. That is almost 3 times faster now. That's a lot more livelier. That feels more like what it should be doing rather than, you know, it's still got torque. I've got a bit of a engagement problem with second gear. I need to get that servo adjusted. Right. Okay, well, now we need to find a big mound and see if it actually does what this should do. Alright, so the problem at Reactive Terrain is there is nowhere for an Icelandic monster to go. So we're going to have to head off into the wild and see if we can find a loose kind of pile of dirt, sand, nothing too big. I think these things are going to take, you need the right mound for these things to really work. Luckily, I live in the middle of a massive HS2 development section and there are mounds of soil everywhere. Let's go find one. All right, so it's probably got a bit too much stone in it. The stone's about fingernail size. I don't know what it's made up of. I think this is just road fill. We'll give it a go and see how it kind of handles it. All right, let's set you up over here. I can't even see what that actually looks like. Anyone tell me? Let's put it on. Oh, no, don't want to zoom. There we go. Right. Okay. Right. Let's have a look. Okay, oh, that's interesting. I feel like I might have to put those weights on the front of it. Back on it again. Oh. Yeah, I definitely feel like those weights probably going to have to go on it now. Oh, and second gear, shift it out again. Try and solve that a bit later on. I think that's to do with the, just need to set it back up a bit. Well, it's definitely removing the soil. It's digging in the soil. It just hasn't got the front weight to do it. Let's see if the second gear, the torque. Nah, paddle tires are definitely working. Look at all of that kicking out of there. So that's pretty good. Oh, that second gear. Come on, just hang in there, girl. Let's try a different route. Oh, it just finds grip and then just bolts off. Oh, there we go. Oh. Well, it definitely acts like an Icelandic off-roader by just shooting off. Oh, DNF. Okay, all right, well, let's, I mean, it's quite steep for something that doesn't have a lot of traction, so I am going to, I'm just going to make a little run for it. Oh. Yeah, definitely going to have to put the weight back on the front. No questions about that. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, this was slippery. This had never made it up there with the stock motor. So definitely made the right choice. Man, it's so hard. No wonder you can really see why those guys in their vehicles they act the way they act when they're trying to climb something like this. It's so hard to do. Ooh. Right. And then, yeah. You've really got to commit to the climb and hope that it... Oh. or doesn't shoot off. Oh. Take a penalty for the reverse. Oh, I just could not get in it. Okay, well, there's one thing for sure. The moment it does get traction, it just hits the rock sideways and just disappears down the edge. It's quite good fun. Like, I'm trying to tackle like 2 foot. That's it. I think maybe a softer PTU on the tires for the printing maybe would work better, but they're not destroying. I thought they'd get destroyed, but they're all right. They're holding up okay. Definitely got to put some front weight on it. That'll hopefully stop it from being a bit leery on the front end, but it does what I wanted it to do. Now I guess it's just a case of finding and building the right mound to do it. There is a mud mound just there, but it's quite loose, so we could give it a go and see what it does over there. Maybe I can build a little run in that and give it a go. Still got battery, so let's do it. All right, so learning a lot now, because this was quite a compacted soil. Paddle tires are just taking chunks out of it. Like little mole diggers, just molding these little holes everywhere. So that tells me that kind of just having a soil pile or a sand pile is not going to work, because it's just going to bury itself constantly. Whereas this stuff is like a road coat, you know, it's like a type 1 mixed coat, and although it does chew away, because it's got quite firm once it's compacted, I'm actually being able to kind of climb, oh, well, that's game over. Lost me nut. At least it wasn't the drive shaft gone, and I don't have a spare. All right, so weight on the front, and this is what it's got to be. This type of, I don't even know if I can get some real fine powdered stuff. It's going to be hard. It's good fun. I like it. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. 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 I shouldn't have done that. I knew better than that. All right. I think we're good though. Motor's definitely made a difference. Front weight needs to go back on. Find a better mound. Yeah, I think it's going to be tricky, because it's got to be like the right type of consistency. Like, you know, at Reactive Terrain we scale everything for a reason, because these small things can make you know, these rocks are huge if you scaled them to it, and this is kind of your average type 1 road feel That's your dirt and soil, but there's a lot of big rocks in it. That's just a pile of crap. That's a big pile of weeds. I don't know what's up over the top of it though, in the middle of it. Yeah, I mean, I suppose we could build a clay mound and then topsoil it. I don't know. It's going to be tricky to build the right mound. I thought that was going to be the easy part, but now that I've used this, I'm not sure it's going to be the easy thing to do. You know, that's just soil, which will be fine, but like we've just seen, it eats away at it with the tires. So if it's too loose, it won't go anywhere. You almost want like a solid underneath that's powdered on top. Another pile of crap in my van. Right. All right, well, that's part one of the Icelandic off-roaders. Drive shaft's an easy fix. It was just the screw that came out, and as long as I've still got it in my hand, which I did, pick that up before I lose it. And it's going to need some weight on the front end of it, and maybe drop down to an 85 PTU to make the tires a little softer, maybe. Don't know. And then I got to find a mount that actually is going to work right, and that's going to be tricky. All right, guys, keep posted. Let's hope that I can find somewhere to run this and make it work properly. I'm going to add the few extra bits onto it, and I'll well, get ready for part two.